Welcome back. Today we're looking at a 2013 Chevy Malibu instrument cluster. Now this one is a previous repair by a different cluster repair shop. So the owner of this vehicle reached out to me because they had sent it off for repair at some place. I don't know the exact details. It doesn't matter. He said he got it back. It worked for a few months and then it stopped working. He reached back out to them to ask about if they would take another look at it, maybe some warranty type work, and they said they refused to look at it again. They just said, "Oh, it must be your car. It's not what we did. There's something wrong with your car, and here's how to troubleshoot the wiring." Now, my spidey senses were kind of tingling because the 2013 Chevy Malibu is not known for having like grounding issues or wiring issues. I know it did happen to the older Malibus, but not in this generation chassis of Malibu. So just because it happens to the old ones doesn't mean it happens to the new ones. And there you see it turned on briefly and then shut back off. And that is what it's been doing to me. It will turn on for just a moment sometimes. I'm just disconnecting the power and reapplying the power to see if it will do that again. So no, right now it is just dead. So it's not the car's fault. There's something in the instrument cluster that is not right. So I'll just take a look around, and first thing I notice that drives me nuts, kind of grinds my gears, is whoever worked on this. No, I don't know if it was the owner of the car maybe was in here, or if the original shop that did the work did this, but there's a great big greasy palm print right on the LCD screen under the lens. I don't know if you can pick that up in video, but it can be seen. The other thing I'm noticing right off the bat that also kind of drives me a little crazy is their calibration on the gas gauge is not right. Right now, when it's at its home position, its farthest left position, it's actually a needle width above the red dash line on the E, and it's supposed to be a needle width below the red dash mark on the E, so it is not reading correctly. The rest of the needle calibration is pretty good. I mean, they're half a needle width off, but now I'm just complaining about small details. Anyways, let's open it up and see what's going on. Now, I'm not going to say who did the original work and who's refusing the warranty work, but I believe that sticker's not original and might be a clue. Anyways, like I said before, I'm not gonna call out the place that did it. That's none of my business. I don't need to turn this into a blame game. So we're just gonna get in and try to fix it right so that way it is reliable. I kind of have a feeling, I think I know why it's doing this. If you're watching one of my older Malibu, 2013 Malibu repair videos, I talk about running jumpers to the resistor that has the failing joints. That is because if you just reflow the bad solder, I've seen these come back with the traces that will actually rip. So ever since I saw that happening, I've been running jumpers to the resistor, the R203 I think it is. I think it's a 1.2K, I'm just going off of memory. Anyways, just to be clear, it's not the resistor itself that fails. Some people get that wrong and they ask me what resistor they should buy, and I try to explain, no, it's the resistor's fine. It's just the solder joint that's the problem. And now, not only just the solder joint, but now the trace. And I have a feeling this might have a damaged trace, but we're gonna find out. I will give props to the original repair that they didn't break any of these clips. Usually when I get the Malibu cluster that has been previously worked on, there's at least 2 or 3 of these clips that have been snapped off because people like to overextend them. What the heck? They put a blob of something right over the resistor. Let me poke at it with my tweezers and see if it can be removed. That is not cool, and there's a nice view of the greasy thumb print that I like to... It looks like someone put their arm right across it and left a greasy palm print. Anyways, I'll try to get past that. But I'm gonna have to see if I can get this blob off of here and see what's hiding under here, because that's where the problem is at. Just covering up bad joints with blobs doesn't fix it. All right, let me soak this in rubbing alcohol and see if it'll come up. If my microscope picked up the footage, you just saw me remove the blob, epoxy, kind of rubbery, whatever. It came off with a little alcohol. And you saw that it was jumpered, which is great. They did jumper it, which is what I would have done. Just like this, that's fine. But they completely missed the solder joint on the resistor. It wasn't soldered, and it looks like not only was a jumper not soldered, but in that same spot, the resistor itself, the solder wasn't reflowed. So I'm not sure how well my phone picks that up, but they missed the solder joint. So let's see if now the jumper that they added was not soldered, but we'll see if the original trace has failed. We'll see if there's continuity to the top of that resistor to the leg of the resistor. And let me get that jumper a little bit more out of the way. Yeah, so even though the resistor is on the pad, I should have continuity from here to here, and I don't. So that is definitely the problem. Let's fix that and test it. Okay, let's give this thing a quick test before we go any further. Power supply's on, just takes it a few seconds to boot up, and there it is. Okay, so far so good. Of course, I'm gonna let this run for a little while just to make sure. But I did give a nice tug on all those jumper wires, and they all feel very secure now. And I'm not gonna cover that resistor like they did with the black epoxy. I don't see a need to cover it. None of the rest of the circuits are conformal coated, or none of the rest of the components are conformal coated, so I don't see a reason to conformal coat that either. It's a pretty strong joint now, and I gotta get rid of this palm print on this LCD screen. It is driving me absolutely nuts. So let me get this cleaned up and back together. There, I think we got a clean screen now. And you know, mistakes do happen. I'm never gonna claim that I'm perfect. I make mistakes too. But I think by this original repair place not offering to take a second look at it and just straight up saying, nope, not our fault, must be your car's fault, they kind of did that customer a little dirty. You know, it only lasted a few months. But again, I'm going to try not to be judgmental, none of my business. But I will back up this repair, because it is now not repair. Let's get a close-up of the needle calibration. Let it do its sweep, and we'll check the home positions. There goes the sweep. We'll start the tack. There it is. The temperature gauge looks like it's off a little bit, but when you're looking at the cluster at the same angle it is when it's in the car, you'll see that it's pretty dead on in the mile per hour, right on the notch. And there's the gas gauge right where it should be, just a titch below the red E mark. Well, if anything, this video should hammer home the importance of jumpering that resistor, that those foil traces are pretty fragile and don't like the abuse that they're under. But I think that's going to wrap up today. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.